Good evening and welcome to another edition of In Focus. I'm your host, Josh Krupp.
And I'm Jess Paterchek.
There's more to Toronto than just the CN Tower, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Blue Jays. Toronto is also home to one of the top 5 biggest film festivals in the world. And tonight on the program, we're going to talk to a Point Park student who interned at the Toronto Film Festival. That's coming up next, only on In Focus. Good evening once again and welcome to In Focus. Now we're joined by sophomore cinema student Kelsey Myers. And Kelsey had a great experience in Toronto this past semester.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, would you tell us about it?
I applied in March of last year in 2015, and I learned about the experience after my friends Damon Long, David Randolph, and Justin Illig both went to Sundance Film Festival. And they had a great experience, so I thought, why not try it out myself? Got the notice that I was accepted in the summer, and then later on, towards the end of summer, they gave me the assignment of the film company that I would work for later on.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you interested in film? And obviously you're at Point Park studying film, and there are so many different outlets you can go here. What got you interested in that?
Mainly, I started editing little montages, almost like trailers, I guess you would say, of movies in like 9th or 10th grade, but it got me interested in editing. And then I started to get into the video production class and did the senior slideshow in high school. I was like the main video person in high school, so thought why not make a career out of this. So applied to Point Park, and now I'm a cinema production major here and looking to focus with a concentration in editing.
That's wonderful. Now, can you tell us about, you worked at an internship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you do editing work for this internship?
Yeah, I did. I edited commercials over the summer for them. It's like a local hometown company, but still getting the experience, and I'm probably going to end up going back this summer with like a paid job, potentially, so it'll be
That's great.
useful,
A great
useful.
resume builder.
Exactly, and it's great to have commercials and stuff just to show, even if it is smaller in a smaller company. It's just awesome to have a commercial reel this early on.
You said earlier that you had to apply and you found out you were accepted. What was the application process like?
The application process, basically, you fill in a little information about yourself, you write some essays and so on. You also have to submit a video talking about yourself and why you want to go to the Toronto International Film Festival, and submit a piece of work of yours, a film of some sort.
How many students were chosen out of this?
Maybe around, say, 20 to 30.
That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So out of all the applicants, you were one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was an exciting time.
So whenever you get there, you first get in Toronto. What's your first impression of the city? I've been to the city. I don't know about you, Jess,
I
but
have not.
I love the country of Canada, and Toronto's a great city. What was your first impression of the city?
My first impression, to be honest, was I was a little nervous because it was foreign. Not foreign, but I mean, I didn't have like the self-service, all of that. It was someplace new I'd never been. So just the idea of walking around a city that I didn't really know where anything was a little nerve-wracking. But within like the first day and stuff, I loved it, and I knew my way around after like the first day of work and making it back and forth. It was great. I love the city. Definitely would like to go back and possibly even find a job there at some day.
Be an official Canadian citizen someday.
That'd be
maybe
awesome,
even.
yeah.
You get the free healthcare and all that fun stuff.
Right. All the perks of being a Canadian.
So you get to Toronto. How much downtime do you have before you get to start interning?
We had about a half a day. They took us, the Creative Minds group, they took us around the city, showed us where we would be working and where the festival street was and all of that stuff, so then we knew where to go. And then we had a little intro, and they gave us a bunch of like the official booklets and stuff with the movies and stuff to look forward to.
The Creative Mind Group, this is the same group that ran Sundance's internship with Damon Long. We had him on the program last year. What's it like working for them?
It was an interesting experience. They have so many different opportunities between the Sundance, cons, Toronto, and they have Berlin and one other that I think I'm missing. but they provide a lot of opportunities going in, and the company itself gives a good opportunity to get to work with other film companies that you might not have the potential to meet on your own. And basically, in a way, they're like a segue to get to work with specific companies that, while you might apply, they might not accept you.
Yeah.
So it's a nice, quick experience with them.
Definitely. Now, can you tell us about like your experience with the festival itself, like the experiences that you've had? What exactly did you do while you were there?
My job specifically had to do with I sat outside and I led potential producers and buyers into the offices of my film company. And the one thing I learned from that specifically was they showed trailers to the potential buyers, which was not something I never thought about. Trailers are meant for like the public, you think, but they're actually meant to sell the product. So that was an interesting thing that I learned specifically. Other than that, other than working, there were a lot of different panels that you could attend. One of them specifically that I remember the most was the casting director one. I got to watch the casting director of The Motion and
Wow.
Pitch Perfect 2 and Winter's Bone. They all spoke. And the one that was most interesting to me was the guy who casted Winter's Bone. He talked about how when Jennifer Lawrence came in, like he was very like impacted by her, and he knew that she was going to be like a big deal one day.
Right off the bat.
Yeah, so that was interesting to me, just because I'm a huge fan of Jennifer Lawrence. So.
And I'm sure you met a lot of interesting people out
Oh,
there.
yeah,
Who were
definitely.
some people that you met that really made an impact on you?
Just like in general, they had meet and greets at around like 6 every day, and just getting to meet the different people and exchange business cards and like talk about like films and like their future projects. And me being in school, they were really surprised me being there so early on and getting a head start on everything. So getting to meet them was really interesting. One person that I met that was an interesting experience for me was I was waiting in line for The Motion, which I didn't get into. It was a long line.
Probably
A
real
lot of
popular.
people wanted to go
Yeah.
see it. Yeah. But I sat by someone who was a freelance editor in Toronto, so it was really interesting, like sharing
Experiences.
sharing the experience and talking about editing and stuff with someone who is from a totally different area. He graduated from Ryerson University, I think, in Toronto. So it was just interesting to talk to someone who went to a totally different school, got to talk about the program and the differences between. He started out with film, so he could talk about like film editing, like the actual film editing, which was really cool to hear about.
That's really fascinating. Now, so you said obviously you've met a lot of people like this editor, but like actors, celebrities, did you get to meet anybody like that?
Oh yes, of course. One of the main ones that's probably my favorite is I got to meet Eddie Redmayne.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I stood there not even that long, and he came out. I got to see like Alicia Vikander and Tom Hooper. They all walked in like on the red carpet kind of deal. But Eddie Redmayne came down our row, and I had a booklet that had the Danish Girls poster in, and I held it out, and he signed it. And one of my best friends is a huge fan of him, so I gave that to her, and she freaked out. It was great. It was like the best gift I could ever give.
Now, somebody wanting to work in the film industry, who's an actor or actress on your bucket list of people that you would love to work with someday?
Ooh, that's a good question. I really like Jennifer Lawrence, but there's probably no chance I'll ever work with her. But she's great.
You never say never.
Some other ones. Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg's a great actor, and while Miles Teller isn't always in some of the best films you would per se, but I love his acting, especially in Whiplash, and I see a lot of potential in him in the future. Once he like grows up a little bit, I think.
As a drummer, I really enjoyed Whiplash.
Oh,
it was
that's one of my
a real
best.
cool movie.
As an editor, I appreciate Whiplash.
Now, you say you're an editor, and you've mentioned editing probably half a dozen
Yeah.
times in this
Yeah.
interview. I'm guessing editing is a route you want to go down. There's, like I said at the beginning, there's a ton of different routes you can go in this industry, but editing is where your niche is.
Oh yeah, definitely. Directing and all of that's not really for me. I love sitting in the darkroom, I guess you could say, and just getting to like assemble it and put the whole movie together and like see the magic like unfold in front of your eyes. So like while the onset experience is also very interesting and fun, I don't know, I like being behind the scenes of it all and doing all of that aside. So.
So what else does an editor do besides just sit in a dark room? Are you on set at all? Do you get to meet the actors? What else does an editor do?
The editor, they can also be on set. A lot of times they aren't specifically supposed to be out during the when they're shooting, because the one main thing about being an editor is if you're there during the shoot, you'll get attached to a shot that they spent like so long doing, and then you won't want to delete it if it doesn't work with the story. So a lot of the times, if an editor is on set, they're like in a separate room, put away, and they're there for like to take the storage, take the videos off of the cards, and get early on syncing the sound, and get maybe even a quick rough cut done if they're fast enough.
Yeah.
So.
Right. So you mentioned like obviously the struggle of having to like delete like part of your own work if you become like fascinated with it. Like what are the other struggles you think you would face as being an editor?
The other struggles is definitely working with the director is probably like you have to find someone that you can work with really well. Sometimes you work with the director and they have a totally different idea and they don't always work the best with how you want to cut it, or they don't like you might want to delete that one shot, but then they're a stickler about it and you have to pretty much go with the director. But it's important as an editor for you to try to do what you believe is best for the movie and the story. So, because the director's the one on the set, seeing everything that's happening and knowing right on set which shots and which takes are his favorites. So.
Back to the film festival. How many days was it? How long were you in Toronto? Did you miss any school for it? What was that the lengthy process like?
I was in Toronto from September 9th to the 17th. It was about, the first day was like half a day, along with the 18th being about a half a day. I missed a week of school, so that was fun. There was a lot to catch up on at school, that's for sure. And being so early on, we had the films coming up for production too, so that was a big conflict of mine, was trying to keep up with everything that I needed for school and also focusing on this internship.
But you weren't the only one that went. You knew somebody that was there with you. You didn't just go by yourself, if I'm understanding you correctly.
My roommate last year and best friend, Mackenzie Flaherty, also went. So that was really fun getting to go with my like best friend, especially because she transferred and I hadn't seen her in a while. So it was a fun experience to share with her.
You get to spend over a week in Toronto.
Yeah,
I mean, what
exactly.
else can you ask for? It's Canada.
Exactly. I love Canada.
Now, going forward this school year, you're finished with production 2 in that film, right? What's next for Kelsey Myers this school year during your sophomore year?
Right now, I am currently, this weekend we're shooting Brother Alpha, which is a movie that was written by Ralph and Anthony Peduzzi. And they, this weekend we're going to be shooting it, and I'll be editing it after spring break and so on. I'll be on set doing the data storage, all that kind of stuff, DITing. And other things that are coming up are I'm editing some intermediate directing scenes, I'm editing some promotional stuff, and then in the summer, commercials. And then the main thing right now is trying to get everything for your demo reel for production 3, because that's coming up next year, fall 2016. So
P3 is a big deal, especially for the cinema kids. What all is going into that? Are you starting to prepare for that now in P3 or for P3?
I'd say I'm preparing mentally first off, because you almost have to. Secondly, I'm preparing by getting on these sets and working with like Anthony and Zach Brown on his intermediate directing scene, getting some different scenes and stuff to use for my reel, some more advanced looking things, and also just preparing the demo reel and talking to people about working together and so on. That's the main part right now.
Right. Now, you said you were talking about filming like promotional things like commercials and stuff. Can you tell us about like your experience with that, or like how will that impact you and like your career here at Point Park?
I love like doing just like quick freelance stuff even, I guess. Right now, I'm helping one of my friends edit one of a promotional video for a company, just something quick, simple for like Kickstarter, but still just something fun to do
Still
on the
experience.
side. Yeah, anything to add to the reel or do, it's great. It's a great experience. Yeah.
And you're willing to get involved right away. You're willing to go to Toronto as a sophomore, and you said these people were impressed with you. And I can't imagine cinema is the only thing you do on campus. What else are you involved with here at Point Park?
Well, I guess when you say that, I'm also involved. I'm the treasurer of John Pierre Society, which is also the film club.
Yeah.
But I'm involved in that. I'm also involved in the honors program, and I'm an honors mentor and so on. Other than that, really, I work at the library, so you might see me there
You
every
keep
once in a
yourself
while.
busy.
Yeah, I keep myself pretty busy. Yeah.
Short-term goals for Kelsey Myers, long-term goals.
Ooh. Short-term goals, probably right now, is to make it that next summer I'll end up in Pittsburgh working somewhere for a commercial company as an intern or so on. And then within like the next 5 years, probably, I'd like to be out in LA at some point, definitely. I don't know for how long, but I really want to go around to a bunch of different places like LA, New York, just get to see a bunch of different cities and so
All the big
on.
names.
Yeah, long term, I would love to potentially, possibly work on editing trailers one day. That's probably my highest dream. That'd be so cool, I think, because it's the different aspect that not many people, when you talk to an editor, they're like, oh, I want to edit films or commercials or so on. But like, I think trailers would be something unique to say that I do as a living. So that'd be fun.
A trailer editor, do they just edit trailers, or do they work on the whole movie then edit the trailer?
See, sometimes the person who is the editor for the movie ends up editing the trailer. But then I also have found there's a couple companies out in LA that are specifically there for editing trailers. So there is the possibility of finding a job where you just strictly really focus on that. So that's interesting to me. I think it'd be cool, especially after seeing at Toronto the whole that they use trailers just to sell the movies, not even to sell them to the public. So.
Yeah.
All right, so you were talking about like short-term working in Pittsburgh. Now, like what companies in specific are you looking at?
I was looking at PMI, which is just down the street. Possibly even Animal one day would be a really good one to work for. So.
Do you have friends that have worked for these companies before?
I've heard of a few people. No one specifically, but just like a few names here and there that I recognize that have worked for them. So.
Yeah, in this industry too, you have to think long term. And what am I going to do once I get out of college? Maybe go back to Toronto. And
That'd be awesome.
go one step back. If there's one thing you wish you would have known before you went to Toronto, what would it have been?
Probably. Just like it was a very diverse city, and just the idea of not being able to like get around really with the phone and stuff. That was an interesting experience to me because I guess we're so dependent on phones here and everything, and so that, like not having that communication and so on. That would have been nice to like recognize early on as something that I should have prepared for, but.
At least when you go to Niagara Falls, you can bounce off the U.S. cell
Exactly.
tower, but in Toronto, you can't do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now I know that. So.
So one last thing, Kelsey. What is the one thing you're looking forward to in the next 2 years before you graduate?
The next 2 years, I'm definitely looking forward to production 3, potentially an internship, like I said, and then even like production 4, and possibly working on a documentary. I think that would be really fun because I'd love to edit a documentary at some point. So.
Kelsey, thank you so much for coming on the program today.
Thank
We
you.
wish you the best in the future. I can see big things for you. I don't know about you, Jess,
Oh,
but
of course.
you're so involved so early, and it takes a lot for somebody to say, hey, let's go to Toronto, and you're not even 20, 21 years old yet and as a sophomore. So thanks for coming on the program. Thanks for tuning in to In Focus tonight. Join us next time to hear what another Point Park student is doing in the cinema world. They could be working on a film. They could be interning at a film festival. Who knows? But join us next time to find out only on In Focus.